Design patterns in voting system. I mean, can we? I mean, we use the design patterns in while we do the designing or we do programming, testing. So, but whenever we write, we design or we write code. So we use design patterns. Means it provides a kind of modularity of the code. Code becomes modular. Okay, code becomes less complex. Code becomes a kind of less error proof. Code becomes it provides extensibility. Now reusability, extensibility. It provides longevity. Means whatever the code we are writing, so that code goes for long. Okay, so error free and then stable everything. The amount of code what we are writing is very small when we use a design pattern. So it has all the advantages and only disadvantage is there is no disadvantage. So design pattern is something like it's a boon to programming area. So when we kind of can we think like when we go for voting, when we vote a candidate, how we use design pattern? Well, it's a kind of peculiar question. I mean, this is the start of a discussion. Design pattern can be used when we manage anything. Like if I'm managing a hotel or I'm managing a home, managing anything. If management grows to a level where it is out of the daily ritual work, okay, then design patterns comes into the picture. So certainly we can use design pattern when we go for voting. I mean, when we cast the vote. Okay, so what is the synergy and how design pattern and voting system? So they go parallel to each other and they make really sense. Okay, so that is the concept. Like one of there can be many design patterns that can be in a structural design pattern. There is a design pattern called Flyweight. It follows Einstein energy theory. So flyweight design pattern. If someone reads the documentation, then rather than kind of if we need lot of resources, I mean a particular class, like I need one class for one particular number, and means there is a table, and each entry in the table belongs to a class. So then if it has n into m column and rows, okay, so n into m, n into m objects required. If it is 50 lakhs by 50 lakhs, I mean, if it is 5 million by 5 million, so that much objects cannot be created. Means now era is going towards embedded areas also. So we cannot afford having too many objects. Then what we do is then we think about intrinsic and extrinsic property of an object. What are the things that is internal to the object and what are the things that is external to the object? Everywhere. If I am a human and I do my work, then two things I see. What is inside me means what is I should do, and what are the components that I should take from the outside. So best design is considered where extrinsic is as less as possible and intrinsic is high. It is called internal energy and external energy in the physics world. I mean, that is demonstrated by great Einstein. So when your internal energy is high, and external energy, then you need less. So being dependent upon the external energy is always bad. Means you hang on someone. Okay. Like if there is a class or function and it has 50 parameters, then 50 combinations, it will go in millions. That much it is dependent on the external. Means what code someone would write, it is just picking the what is this variable and that variable, then I'll do like this, then I'll do like that. So that is not an error prone code, that is not a code at all. Means if you're a human, if a human and he is dependent too much upon the external thing and his internal thing, either it is too less or it won't work. Means this is the concept of disease also. Someone carries a disease in his body because he is too much dependent upon outside. His inside power is less. That's the kind of concept of the disease also. Similar to, so when we see the flyweight design pattern, we sort out the internal and external features. Okay, so if we try to make internal as big as possible and lessen the external features, this way we reduce the number of objects required. Only objects that are actually required, where we see that things would differ among the objects. So, so that we kind of pass externally. Otherwise, it would share the code, internal code. So, if the power of a class when we write, or power of a function when we write, it lies in the its internal algorithm. What it does, like if we go for the designing, then we see kind of a single responsibility to a class or open close principle. It should be open for extensibility and close for modification. All leads to same idea that a class and function should be closed for any change. Means the way what we write, it has such an intrinsic component strong that it should be one word on its own. If something different is required, it should be triggered by the external component and like single responsibility in the design. Then it should it should take a minimum hint from outside. Everything it should do on its own. A person is healthy. A person when he is independent. He is dependent means a person cannot, anyone cannot, a computer cannot live. A computer is a weak computer when it is not attached to a network. That is the external component. But a computer is completely weak when it is completely dependent upon the network. It does nothing on its own. So the strongest computer is where 90% of the power or the logic is implemented inside the computer and 10% maximum hint it gets from the outside to do the work. That is the concept of a server. Server is connected to network to do the work, not to guided by the network for everything. So like when we go for vote. So now when we go for vote, so it is kind of also called a vocal for the local. Means whatever we do, we make sure that things that is at local level, it should be much more, 9 times at least powerful than depending upon the global factor. Global factor may give kind of some respite, some relief at the beginning level. Like if I don't have something, then I can take the global help and I get it. But the idea is that I should start generating it on my own, so that tomorrow the need for the external help would be less. So initially it would be kind of difficult. I won't say error prone. It would be difficult to follow, but day by day, as independence grows, then it brings fruits. So when we go for vote, then we see what whom we are voting. Like in kind of typically, if a system is village wise, then it starts with kind of it's called panchayat election, where we select village mukhia and sarpanch and these people. So the the block, the code block, the kind of the execution unit where the scope of the work is limited to that election. Now, when we select to a party, then we have to think which party is internal and which party is external. Means how much strength we are giving to internal and how much strength we are giving to external. So 90% of the selection should go to the candidate or the party that is internal, that is local, and 10% of the strength should be given. So either a candidate has 90% internal strength and 10% external strength, or 90% of the candidate must be only confined to the local. So this is how we select the internal selection. Or if we go to the higher level, we come to state level, like it is typically called MLA here, member of legislative assembly. There, if we select a party, we must think that which party is local to us, and which party is external to us. So, external party would be kind of lucrative. They would give some money and initial life would be good. They would build some education system and hospital and all. But your internal strength is zero. Means how you would grow. Initial life is easy. So if we see the flyweight design pattern, where we take the external extrinsic component, minimize the extrinsic component, and see that the intrinsic component is powerful. So that way, if I go for a state level election, then we choose a party that is powerful, that is local. External, we take help as maximum 10%. Either we choose external party 10%, or the party we see that 90% of its strength is local. So that the local code strength, so like we say that the single responsibility principle to an execution unit, so the responsibility to the local doing on its own, and then so that even external people would enjoy. Is if someone external comes to a state and if he sees that it is independent and it produces, means if internal energy is high, like open close principle in the design, where things are open for extensibility and closed for modification. So if someone comes, like in earlier history, we saw that many kind of philosophers they visit province to province. So whatever discussion we are making, it's not specific to India. It is specific to every part of the globe. So if someone is powerful in local concepts, local languages, and local work, so any philosopher or any kind of a person who writes, if he visits the province, the way we see the history, then he praises. He writes the what is the culture and what is the how the way people live. If some region people are completely following the foreign culture, foreign means anyone's foreign. If if I am eating something that is not my food, then it is foreign to anyone. Then, first of all, he would be surprised and he would not like to write anything. Means, anyway, he knows those things. Then, and those people have less strength. They are not productive at all. They are dependent upon some. It's like a paralysis. So, if someone opts for a party and that party is local, then it is something like that the state, particular state, is productive. Okay, it has inner strength and it is productive. Same way, if we go for a bigger election like countrywide, the what we are facing, going to face, we have many options, like which party, which we would hope, which we would vote. Sometimes selecting a party is is kind of that procedure lies in rejecting a party. Either we select a party. If we don't have any option, then we think about rejecting rejecting a party. So when we vote to someone, then we should see. that who is external and who is internal. A party who is external, he may bring good salary job, some hospital and some railway stations and a few post office and then few kind of these external. I'm not saying it is not required, but more than that is required that there should be good agriculture, there should be good medical system that is powerful in the local region as per the weather and as per the geography, as per the habit of people. They promote kind of inner strength of the people. So accepting a local party is good thing and also rejecting outsiders, people who do not belong to your country. Means their party name itself is English. Means I would say with I am speaking in English so that people would get communicated. But for us, like English one in the sense that they are external, they are not internal. Like if I see India, then the internal language is Sanskrit here. So it is same as any country where they have the internal language, internal culture, and external language and external. Means party name in India itself is English. What party would do for the country? Means few kind of money they would throw on the people for the beginning job in railway and those kind of things. But later, what is the result? This many percentage of people means now the if you see the situation of the India, then I would say more than 10% means less than 10% people are employed, 90% people are unemployed because country this it saw kind of movement toward the external party and which are not they do not belong to this country and just some with some lucrative money people they hang to it. It's something like you are hanging on a electricity pole and initially you are getting energy but after that wherever they are going you are just hanging on them. Yes, people are drinking wine also that is foreign made. It's amazing what the strength the country would carry, how long it would go. See the population of the country. It is the highest in the world. Area wise, India would not be even in, I believe, it's very small. As per if you see, it would not be even 7% of uh, the world. Means it's very small. All the country which are bigger to India, they are very big like United States or Brazil, all are three times bigger. Australia, Canada, China, and Russia, all are three more than three times bigger. But population-wise, it is highest. Unemployment, it is highest. People they do not carry body strength, nothing. They do not know their own languages. What they will know English or this and that. They do not know their own languages, nothing. So when you go for the voting, you think about the designing concept and you vote for the local party. If you cannot do not know which party I should vote, certainly you reject the external party. The party which do not belong to the country. Means their head they roam around in the kind of Harvard and Stanford and giving speeches here and there. This is their pastime. Means this is how Cambridge means country, this country especially for the people who live in Cambridge and Harvard. India is foreign country. Yes, if their people they keep coming to India for everything, how they like. So here they never think about bringing up their own culture country. Earlier we had Nalanda and Taxila university here, which were more powerful. They existed for 1,000 years. I have at least I don't know any Harvard or Cambridge that is existing for 1,000 years. Okay, and they were fine. They never think that it should go up and India should kind of stand up on its own culture and habit. People should tend to get good food, less disease, and productive. They can export things rather than everything import. There are times when India import potatoes, Means there is a one district in Bihar called Nalanda, and potato cultivation for 1 year in that district would feed full earth. Means it is that powerful. But country import potato also. For country like Bhutan, which is a hilly country, mountainous country, means it has nothing. This country is completely hollow. So few things can give pain at the beginning, but once we start becoming productive, step by step, beginning pain is there, but bigger future and high strength future is remaining. So follow the design patterns when you go for vote also, and see the. I'm not saying that you reject a party at every level, but you see the level where you are. We gave the example of the designing course like body part, where you start with the concrete level and then go with the abstraction layer by layer. So at each layer, you saw what is internal to you and what is external to you. You minimize the external things. Otherwise, you keep doing the external things only. So when you go for voting, you see your level, layer, where you are standing. You are at municipality election, you are at civic with civic poll, you are at a state election, you are at country election, you are at what level? Then you identify the external and internal. Then try to stick with 90% of the time, try to stick with the internal. Grow it, become powerful. The way countries like United States or UK, Russia, China, yes, they have their own language that is kind of powerful. So everyone should follow a private design pattern, and that's how we should go.